We should be okay now.
Dave, I have 7:01, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Have one request for addition to the agenda. I have a resolution to do that. I'll need a mover and a seconder to do that as well. Councillor Cross, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Councillor Maxwell, can you second it, please?
Yes, again.
Thank you. So this is a resolution moved by Councillor Cross, seconded by Councillor Maxwell, that council hereby authorizes the following amendment to the October amendments to the October 26th, 2021 agenda. So A1 is the amendment to the agenda, and M1 is Ms. Tammy Albers would like to offer an apology. I'd like a discussion on this, please. Councillor Cross?
No discussion?
Councillor Maxwell?
No discussion.
Councillor Olmsted?
No discussion.
Thank you. Councillor Shipham? I can't hear you, but I think you said yes.
No discussion.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to call for a vote on it. Councillor Cross, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Councillor Maxwell, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
And Councillor Olmsted, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, and Councillor Shipham, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, I vote yes as well, so this resolution is carried, and that item will be added to the agenda. Okay. Next item on the agenda is item number 2, and it's a written disclosure of pecuniary conflict of interest. Councillor Cross, do you have any written disclosure or pecuniary conflict of interest?
No, I don't.
Councillor Maxwell, do you have any written disclosure of pecuniary conflict of interest?
No, I don't.
Councillor Olmsted, do you have any written disclosure of pecuniary conflict of interest? No? And
No.
Councillor Shipham, do you have any written disclosure of pecuniary conflict of interest?
No.
Okay. Thank you. So we're going to move on to item number 3. And it's petitions and delegations. We don't have any tonight. Item number 4 is reports from municipal officers, of which we have none tonight. And then item number 5 is reports from committees, of which we have none tonight. And then we have item number 6 is action orders. So the first item on the agenda is A, minutes of the council meeting. It's a resolution to adopt the minutes of the Tuesday, October the 12th, 2021 meeting. And I'll need a mover for that, please. So Councillor Olmsted, could you move that one, please?
We can hear it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Shipham, can you second that one, please?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. So we have this resolution moved by Councillor Olmsted and seconded by Councillor Shipham that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on Tuesday, October the 12th be hereby adopted and signed as circulated. Any discussion? Councillor Shipham.
No discussion.
Councillor Olmsted.
No discussion.
Councillor Maxwell.
No discussion.
Councillor Cross.
No discussion.
Okay, so I'm gonna call for a vote on this one. Councillor Cross, do you vote to do you vote to adopt these, minutes from the October 12th meeting?
Yes.
Councillor Maxwell, do you vote, to, accept these minutes from the October 12th meeting?
Yes.
Councillor Olmsted
Yes.
and Councillor Shipham?
Yes.
And I do as well, so this, resolution is carried. Okay, next item on the agenda is B, Councillor Heather Olmsted. Councillor Olmsted.
So earlier this year, we saw council the departure of a dedicated councillor, Dean Grant, someone also willing to ask questions when things didn't look right. He was dedicated to representing the will of his constituents. Now I've been ordered to resign. I don't take any of this lightly. My main concern is our ratepayers. Due to the threat of constant investigations, my hands are tied. I no longer have the ability to be an effective councillor in this work environment. As I continue to be targeted, the bills will keep adding up. With this in mind, the best way for me to continue to represent the ratepayers is as a private citizen. The best thing for the ratepayers and myself is to resign. I have learned a lot about politics, and it was a great honor to serve on council. I will continue to serve my community as a private citizen. I'm resigning as of now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Olmsted.
Did she just resign?
Yeah.
That was later on.
Okay. I still see Councillor Olmsted present. Okay. All right. Excuse me. Next item on the agenda is bylaw number 2021-029. It's a road use agreement with Christopher and Lori Boyle. Oh, sorry, Councillor Shipham.
I just have a question regarding the resolution on the resignation. Do we not have to accept or
Oh, yeah.
reject?
Sorry.
Okay.
Pardon me? Well, I'm going to call for a mover and a seconder, yes. Got ahead of myself. Councillor Maxwell, can I get you to move this one, please?
Yes, Ken.
Thank you. Councillor Cross, can I get you to second this one, please?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. So I have this resolution moved by Councillor Maxwell, seconded by Councillor Cross, that the council of this Valley Calvin hereby accepts or rejects Councillor Heather Olmsted's resignation as of Tuesday, October 26, 2021. And this is open for discussion. Councillor Cross, do you have anything you'd like to offer?
No discussion.
Councillor Maxwell, do you have anything you'd like to offer?
I'd just like to say thank Councillor Olmsted for her years of working with us on the council, and I appreciate all the work that she's done on the getting the swimming pool opened and the swimming hole committee, running that, and working with the ATV group. I think she was a great asset to the council, and I think that should be sadly missed. It's unfortunate that it looks like a constructive dismissal with the fines that she received of over $7,500 was a bit extreme, I thought, and that pretty well forced her into retiring from resigning from council.
Thanks for your opinion, Councillor Maxwell. Councillor Shipham, do you have anything you'd like to offer?
No discussion.
Okay. So I'm going to ask, I'm going to take a vote. I'm going to ask if Councillor Cross, are you in favor of accepting the resignation from Councillor Olmsted as of tonight?
Yes.
Councillor Maxwell, are you in favor of accepting this resolution that accepts the resignation of Councillor Olmsted tonight?
No.
No? Okay. Councillor Shippen, are you in favor of accepting this resolution to accept Councillor Olmsted's resignation as of tonight?
Yes.
Okay, and I am as well. So this resolution is carried. Thank you. Okay. So now we'll move on to item C, which is bylaw number 2021-029, and it's a road use agreement with Christopher and Lori Boyle. At our last meeting, we passed the first and second reading of this bylaw. So I'm going to get a mover and a seconder for the third reading. So Councillor Shippen, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. And Councillor Maxwell, can you second this one, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. So we have the third reading. Excuse me, moved by Councillor Shippen, second by Councillor Maxwell, to authorize a road use agreement between Christopher and Lori Boyle and the Corporation of the Municipality of Calvin. Any discussion on this? Councillor Cross.
No discussion.
Councillor Maxwell.
No discussion.
And Councillor Shippen.
No discussion.
Okay, so I'm going to call for a vote on the third reading. Councillor Cross, do you vote yes or no to accept the third reading?
Yes.
Councillor Maxwell, do you vote yes or no to accept the third reading?
Yes.
And Councillor Shippen, do you vote yes or no to accept the third reading?
Yes.
Okay, so I vote yes as well. This third reading is passed and number 2021-029, and that the bylaw be signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Okay, thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda, is bylaw number 2021-030. And it's the municipal vaccination policy. So at our last meeting, okay, we adopted the first and second reading, so this will be for the third reading. So I'm going to need a mover and a seconder for the third reading. So Councillor Shippen, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
And Councillor Cross, can you second this one, please?
Yes, I can.
Right. For the third reading, we have, this has been moved by Councillor Shippen and seconded by Councillor Cross. And this is a bylaw to adopt a policy regarding the vaccination of workers against COVID-19 for the municipality of Calvin. I'll open it up for discussion. Councillor Cross.
No discussion.
Councillor Maxwell.
I did have a question last meeting regarding how this would affect the fire department. Cindy was going to look into that. Any information on that, or?
I spoke to the fire chief, and he approximates, we don't know exactly because we haven't asked everybody, but he estimates that approximately 50% of the firefighters are vaccinated.
Did he anticipate any adverse effects of this, of us passing this bylaw?
Well, potentially, I don't mean to step on Mayor Pennell's toes, but potentially we are looking into, we had an emergency control group meeting on last Wednesday, and it was discussed whether we can look into finding a less expensive way for testing to be done if an employee chooses or a volunteer chooses to not to get a vaccination. So our CEMC is looking into that. Apparently there's a way, or there's a potential way for us to get an less expensive or an inexpensive way to get the testing done. So that's the alternative. It's already incorporated in the vaccination policy, but we're looking into that.
Thank you.
Councillor Shippen?
No discussion.
Okay, I'd like to recommend that we defer this till our next meeting, and for that reason, so that we can investigate the cheaper method of testing. Hopefully, Renee can obtain that for us, and it would be a positive for the firefighters that don't want to or cannot be vaccinated. So I'm going to ask for a vote on that. Councillor Cross, would you be in favor of deferring this till our next meeting? For that
Yes,
reason?
I would be. Yes.
Councillor Maxwell, would you be in favor of deferring it to our next meeting for that reason?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Shippen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, guys.
Mayor Pennell, I'm assuming you're okay with it being deferred?
Yes. Okay, thank you for that, everyone. Okay, our next item on the agenda is bylaw number 2021-028, which is an amendment to the hall rental and equipment use policy to include vaccination passport verification, responsibility of the event coordinator. So I'll need a mover and a second. We got, again, in this one here, we had passed the first and second reading at our last meeting. So I'll need a mover and a seconder for the third reading. So Councillor Cross, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. And Councillor Maxwell, can you second this one, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Okay, so we have the third reading, moved by Councillor Cross, seconded by Councillor Maxwell, to being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2020-020 and bylaw 2020-025, a policy outlining the terms, conditions, and fees for a rental of the Calgary Community Centre and its equipment, commonly known as the Hall Rental and Equipment Use Policy, to include pandemic screening, contact tracing, and vaccination requirements. Any discussion on this, Councillor Cross?
No discussion.
Councillor Maxwell?
No discussion.
Councillor Shippen?
No discussion.
Okay, I'm going to ask for a vote on this third reading.
Mayor Pennell?
Are you in favor? Oh, sorry, Cindy, can you?
Sorry,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to update council on the new requirements that came into effect as of yesterday. Just, it shouldn't affect anything here. I just want to make sure that council's fully aware of what's going on. So the latest changes, if vaccinations are required at an event, we still have to do the screening, we still have to do the contact tracing, and obviously we have to check for vaccinations, but the capacity limits will be removed, and as will the social distancing. So if everyone at the event proves that they're vaccinated, then the capacity limit is removed, and so is the social distancing. However, if they choose, a person at an event chooses not to do that, those screening procedures, then the capacity limit stays in place, social distancing remains in place, etc. Mask wearing has not been removed from this, from either scenario. That masks are still required to be worn. So I just wanted to let council know that's a further update as of yesterday.
Thank you for that, Cindy. So I'm going to call a vote on the third reading. Councillor Cross, are you in favor, yes or no?
Yes.
Councillor Maxwell, are you in favor, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you. And Councillor Shippen, are you in favor, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, I am as well. So, excuse me, the third reading, as reported by Committee of the Whole, is passed and number 2021-028, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Thank you, everyone. Okay, our next item on the agenda, excuse me, is bylaw 2021-028. And that is, no, it's not. Next item on the agenda is report from Clerk Treasurer, 2021-CT53, consolidation of council ideas for property standards bylaw. So, can you explain what you have here, Cindy?
This is a consolidation of the ideas that were received from all members of council in regards to the two example property standards bylaws that were provided, to see what they liked, what they didn't like, that sort of thing in terms of a property standards, putting together a property standards bylaw for the municipality of Calvin.
Okay. There are a number of different items in here. Doesn't say who presented what. Okay. Has everybody had a chance to go through them?
Councillor Shipham has a question.
Okay. I'm having a problem seeing everybody. Councillor Shippen, can you go ahead, please?
Well, I was just wondering if, based on the amount of changes and questions and removals and whatever for Papineau Cameron, if we should just not even kind of look at that one, because it doesn't seem to have what we as a township would like to have or like to see in our property standards. Chisholm was less items to change. With Papineau Cameron, it looks like we're pretty much rewriting the whole thing.
Yeah, if you put them all together, there are some similar ones, in two presentations.
Yeah.
I don't really know how we're gonna do this other than go through the whole bylaw and, look at, choose one, then go through the bylaw and look at each line, through it, and see if what changes we need to make or would like to make or leave it the same. Does anyone else have a different idea of how to do this?
Well, I think that's what we did when we submitted our recommendations. But
Yeah.
because with all of us submitting recommendations, Papineau Cameron is over a page long and Chisholm is like half a page. So I feel that we should probably just take the Chisholm one and go through it. If you wanted to line by line to see what we want to keep and what we don't want to keep, but the Papineau Cameron one is like, that'll take us forever.
Okay, that was my thought. We pick one and then we do that. Yeah.
Okay,
But we have to pick one, okay? Everybody has to agree to that, right? Or a majority.
Okay.
So, we don't have a way to legally do that tonight other than just, yes, Councilor Masso?
I just wanted to ask one question. Are we, as a council, sure that we want to go ahead with this property standards bylaw? It's the message I've been getting from our residents is that they don't really want it to, like they don't think it's broken, so they don't want us to be fixing it. I just wanted to know how other councillors feel about that, whether we need to be going forward this right now. It seems like people want us to be focusing on Castleholm and dealing with some of the other more important issues, but the length of the grass in the front yard, they're not as interested in that.
I understood, but there are other things than grass in somebody's front yard in this bylaw. I'm not sure if are we required to have one, Cindy?
Not this type of property
No.
standards bylaw. We do have one for interior. This
Interior.
is for exterior.
Yes. I think that there's a lot of things that can be removed, from it, but I do think we should have one. I don't agree with, grass being no longer than 4 inches or, there's gonna be reasons for, people to have tires because we are a farming community and the tires can be used to keep, hay off the ground or straw off the ground, whatever. There's many different, things that need to be looked at, in the bylaw. What I would like to do is just sit down, and hack this out, just go through it. If we're gonna choose Chisholm, we're gonna choose Chisholm. If we're gonna choose Papineau Cameron, we're gonna do that. But we have to decide as a group which one we're going to do, and then go through it and be smart about what we're saying, and recognize that we live in the country, and we have farming people around, and we have different people doing different things. That's my proposal. So I'd pretty near like, if we're going to do this, I'd pretty near like just a meeting just for this, because there's a lot of things here that we need to talk about, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different ideas and thoughts on the different line items within the report, and it's going to take us a long time to do it. So that's my thoughts. I'll ask for yours. Councillor Croft, your thoughts?
I agree with everyone, actually. I want it to be simple. If we have to have one, we have to be mindful of everybody. Even having the residents put in their own thoughts as well would be greatly appreciated. I do believe, maybe just looking at Chisholm and not Papineau Cameron So I think having a meeting dedicated just for this, or at a meeting that doesn't have more things on the agenda, where the majority of the meeting would be this, I could go for that as well.
Councillor Maxwell, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We'll take a lot of time to go through this entire package. I would like us to stay on similar to what Papineau has, because we are very close in our community with Papineau. Like, we should be sure fire department responsibilities, and Merce Chisholm is farther away. Papineau there are competitors one way for getting people to live in the area, and so we should have similar bylaws, so that there's not a big difference between one side of a boundary road and the other side of boundary road.
Okay. Councillor Shipman, your idea, your thoughts?
No, I'm up for a meeting that's, that just looks after this, or as Councillor Cross suggested, a meeting that is going to be smaller in duration, this would take up most of the time. I also think that we can use the Chisholm bylaw, but pull things out of that we want to keep if necessary from Papineau. If it's an idea that we all want to keep, like not something that's going to be up for major discussion as to whether we should or shouldn't. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on that.
Thank you all. Okay, so we've agreed to have a meeting just for this, okay? But we have to be prepared for that meeting. We have to, yes, Cindy?
I was just going to make a suggestion. What about using the special meeting that's called for December the 7th and combining the strategic plan and the property standards battle act? So both of those would be the only two subjects discussed at that particular meeting.
Okay, that might be a good idea. Everybody okay with that? Councillor Cross?
Yes, I am.
Councillor Maxwell?
Yes.
And Councillor Shipman?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do that then. But like I was saying, okay, we have to be prepared for that meeting. So you have to take a look at what items you want to see in this agreement, in the bylaw, and come to the table with those. And it would be beneficial to share that with everyone before we come to the meeting, so that we can look at them, how they're in the existing policies now, and see if they can be modified or if we want them at all. So there's going to be some homework there for us. Everybody okay with doing that? Councillor Cross?
Yes, most definitely.
And Councillor Maxwell?
Yes.
And Councillor Shipman?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's do that for that meeting, okay? Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda, is bylaw number 2021-031. It's to confirm the proceedings of council from July to September 2021. So this is a bylaw, requires 3 readings. So for the first reading, I'll need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Shipman, can you move this reading, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Councillor Maxwell, can you second this one, please?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So this is the first reading of the bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council from July to September 30, 2021. Any discussion on this, Councillor Cross?
No discussion.
Counselor Maxwell,
No discussion.
and Counselor Shipman.
No discussion.
Okay, so I'm going to call a vote on the first reading. Counselor Cross, are you in favor to confirm the proceedings of council from July 1st to September 30th, 2021?
Yes, I am.
Counselor Maxwell, do you agree to
Yes.
confirm the proceedings of council from July 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2021?
Yes.
Counselor Shipman?
Yes.
Okay, and I am as well. Okay, so we'll move on to the second reading tonight. Can I get Counselor Cross, can you second the second reading, please?
Yes.
And Counselor Shipman, can you second the second reading, please?
Yes, again.
Thank you. So we have Counselor Cross moving the second reading and Counselor Shipman seconding the second reading of the bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council from July 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2021. Any discussion on this? Counselor Cross?
No discussion.
Counselor
No
Shipman?
discussion.
Counselor Maxwell?
No discussion.
Okay, so this reading is read a second time, and it's going to be referred to Committee of the Whole Council. I need a vote on that. Counselor Cross, you vote yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Counselor Maxwell, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
And Counselor Shipman, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I vote yes as well. So the second reading is carried. Thank you, everyone. Next item on the agenda is a request to see if businesses or, I guess, someone can advertise in our monthly newsletter that goes out. We have one request from the town of Mattawa to do that. So I'm going to need a mover and a seconder so that we can discuss this, please. So Councillor Shipman, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. And Councillor Cross, can you second this one, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. So we have this resolution moved by Councillor Shipman, seconded by Councillor Cross, that the Council of Municipality of Calvin will hereby allow or not allow the regional municipalities to advertise in our monthly newsletter, and we'll charge a fee of X per word per page, and request the clerk treasurer to add this fee to fees and charges bylaw, and further request for the clerk treasurer to research and develop a policy on outside sources advertising in our monthly newsletter. So I'm going to ask for your opinions and a discussion on it, and we can start with Councillor Cross.
I just added a few notes here. I looked at this and I saw that it could generate a minimum amount of money for the municipality, and it would give the public more information of what's going on out there. I would be concerned about advertising for another municipality if we had something going on in our own municipality, like conflicting, say, well, what's coming up, Halloween or fireman's breakfast, that type of thing. I wouldn't want to have ours overshadowed. Do other municipalities do this? That's a question. And my main concern is the amount of time that would add dealing with the advertising to the workload of our clerk, and would we have to consider, more staff, which I don't think would be an appealing. That's pretty much all that came to my mind about this. I see pros and cons.
Thank you. Councillor Maxwell, your ideas?
I have no comment on it. It's probably a good idea. I don't know if people use it much, but sure.
Okay, Councillor Shipman?
No, I pretty much agree with what Councillor Cross said, because I was wondering the same thing. How much extra time would it take up for the clerk? Plus, how much more paper and stuff would it generate for our newsletter? Not sure that the fees charged would be enough to offset those costs. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have for that as well.
Okay, thank you. It might, my opinion, it might be a good idea to do this, but as Councillor Cross and Councillor Shipman have both suggested, it could be, there would be extra time involved, either by the clerk treasurer or the minute assistant to do this. It also would not stop being our newsletter, but it would take away from the Municipality of Calvin's newsletter by putting other information in there. I think that it's probably good to share information for the municipality or to the municipality to let them know what is going on around us, and if they want to attend some other happening in a different area, then they could do that. But we want to be really sure that we don't lose any money doing this. There's going to be costs for the paper and for the toner and for the time to put it together. We'll also have to have a policy on we don't have any graphic artists or whatever employed at the municipality, so I think that anybody wanting to put something in the paper is going to have it copy ready when it's given to us, so that we're not bogged down in preparing it. So basically what we're looking for here is for our clerk treasurer to research and develop a policy on outside sources advertising in our monthly newsletter. And then she would also determine what an appropriate cost range would be for that advertising. That's how I'm looking at it anyway. I don't know if everybody agrees or not. So are we in favor of the clerk treasurer investigating this proposal at this time by the town of Mattawa to advertise in our flyer? Everybody's had a chance to discuss it, so I'm going to call it to a vote. Councillor Cross?
Mayor Pennell,
Yes, sorry.
before you do that, do you want to amend the motion then? As it stands now, you're going to have to fill in some blanks.
Well, we don't know what to fill in there, right? So
So you want
$20 a page, right? Like, I don't know what to put there, what numbers to put there. So that would be part of your research, I believe.
Okay, so do we want to amend it to just say, council requests that the clerk treasurer research and develop a policy on outside sources advertising in our monthly newsletter?
That would be my suggestion, but it would be open to council to determine that. Councillor Maxwell, your thoughts?
I'm fine with it the way it is.
The way it is? Okay. So what charges are you putting in there, Councillor Maxwell?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have a price, a set price. I just don't know.
Okay. Councillor Croft, your thoughts?
It would depend on the size of the page. Is it a whole page? I know in the past that, yes, this is kind of, I don't know if we're just developing a policy or are we saying, yes, that are we going to do this? It's,
I think what I was asking was that the clerk treasurer research and develop a policy on outside sources advertising in our monthly newsletter. And then we would look at that and would we accept it or not? That's my thought. Right?
so the resolution would have to be amended because otherwise we would have to put in these
Right.
blanks.
And right now is
So we,
want to amend the resolution.
yes.
Yes, okay. Councillor Shipham.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Cindy, can you amend this so that it asks you to do further research and develop a policy with costs and charges in it that we can look at a future meeting and determine if we want to proceed with it.
Is that acceptable to council?
Do we maybe need to put, and costs in there somewhere? Or does it matter?
No, I think it matters.
Alrighty then.
That looks good to me, if it looks good to everybody else. So I'm going to call for a vote on this one as it's modified. Councillor Cross, do you vote to accept this resolution the way it's written now?
Yes.
Councillor Maxwell
Yes.
and Councillor Shipham?
Yes.
And I do as well. Thank you all.
Mayor Pennell, we just have to, there's a vote for accepting the amendments and then a vote in terms of
There's two? Okay.
whether they agree, yeah.
Okay, so we voted to accept the amendment. So we need to vote on,
Accepting
To move
the
forward.
motion.
yes. Okay, so call for a vote if, from everyone to determine if they want to move forward with this motion. Councillor Cross, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Councillor Maxwell, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Councillor Shippen, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, I vote yes as well. Thank you, everyone. Okay, next item on the agenda is item I, is a request from our fire chief, okay, concerning a request to purchase a new to us pumper truck. Okay? there was a document provided in our council package concerning the information that he had researched for us, okay? And I'll read it, and then we can discuss it afterwards, okay? But I'll need a mover and a seconder first. So Councillor Maxwell, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
Councillor Shipman, can you second it, please?
Yes, again.
Okay, thank you. So we have this resolution moved by Councillor Maxwell, seconded by Councillor Shipman, that the Council of the Municipality of Calvin hereby deems it in the best interest of the municipality to replace the old 1985 pumper truck as parts are difficult to obtain, is rusting quite badly, and its repair bills are quite costly because of the age of the truck. Whereas the funds of approximately $85,000 were not included in the 2021 budget for the replacement of the pumper truck, and it was not anticipated to be replaced in 2021. Whereas Council acknowledges that they will be evoking Clause 4322 of the procurement bylaw and consider this a sole source supply. Therefore, it be resolved that Council hereby authorizes the Clerk Treasurer to transfer funds in the amount of $85,000 from the fire reserves to allow this important project to proceed in a timely manner and for the expense and revenue to be allocated to the applicable calendar year. Okay. So I'm going to open it up for discussion. First of all, Dean, is there something you'd like to say?
So I guess kind of want to see what you guys want to say first, and then I can answer your questions. I think that's probably the easiest way to go about. We've been looking forward to replacing pumper for a while now because of the age of the truck, and the truck was a low run truck. Like, there's not a lot of these trucks made. It's a Brigadier, so it is hard to get parts for. So just with the age and stuff, we're looking to replace it. Luckily, I've recently looked at one over in West Nipissing, which wasn't suitable for our needs. This truck, I actually looked at this truck before Gary brought it to me in North Bay, and I looked over it. It's all been gone over. They spent lots of money going over this truck. There's lots of things already done to it that would save us lots of money in the purchasing of this project. The truck has already been safetied, so we don't have to do any annual safeties, and that will actually save money too as well, because I'm not going to have our pumper safetied. Our pumper safety is due at the end of the month. I've been putting it off to see what decision is going to be made here. It's already been pump tested. It already has been serviced, this truck, by Fort Garry, as it was over in Elliott Lake, servicing Elliott Lake for 4 months while they were waiting for their new pumper to be delivered from Fort Garry. There was right now the truck's sitting here in Ontario. They haven't sent it back yet because they're waiting for a decision. But not having sent it back, it actually saves us $3,000 because we're not getting it delivered from Manitoba. That's what the Elliott Lake paid to get their truck delivered. This truck has many safety features. Hands down, it's a superior truck to the truck we have now. It has lots of upgrades that Fort Garry's already done to it. Like, they put all brand new tires on it. It's got all brand new shocks. All the engine's been gone over, has its oil changes. So it's ready to be put in service. We could put this truck into service with very minimal cost. Like, all we are going to do is take the radio out of our other truck, and the truck's going to be ready to go. This is a really good opportunity for us as a small fire department to purchase a really good truck. The Spartan chassis are like top of the line chassis, and this truck has very good features like a poly tank. So for aging the truck down the road, it'll age better, because what happens with a poly tank is plastic. It doesn't rust like our steel tanks do. And the steel tanks cause lots of damage over time because of the scaling that happens inside the tank. I did put some pictures in. I didn't get a copy of this print or the pictures, but I was trying to show it the best I could within the pictures. And hopefully that would answer all your questions.
Okay.
So I'll leave you.
All right. Can we go back up to the top, please? Okay, so we've got a mover and a second on this, so it's open to discussion. So I'm going to leave it to Councillor Cross first, please.
I did have a couple of questions. Is this considered a private sale, so there's no taxes?
No. No, we have to pay tax on that. We get the tax
Okay,
money
so
back,
it's-
though, right? Cindy,
Okay,
you could explain it
so
there, how
it's-
that actually works. Because I asked Cindy about that.
Okay, so that's, okay, so that's 85,000 plus taxes.
Correct.
Okay.
So originally, in the package that I made up, they were originally asking 95,000 for this truck, but because of our past dealings with Fort Garry, and I've mentioned that, you know, they kind of owe us a little bit for the troubles that we've been having with PT2, they were willing to come down to 85.
Now that you brought up PT2, the only issues we really had with that was the pitting, right? With the paint
Yeah.
job, there wasn't there. Okay. Okay. Had me concerned
Yeah.
there that there was more other
No,
issues.
no.
Okay. Now we basically in here it says that the NFPA standards is 25 years. So there's basically 8 years left on this truck that if we purchase it for the 25-year before they suggest that you replace. So it basically is working out to about what, $10,000 a year, just a little over.
Yeah.
I did have one other question, and excuse my not being knowledgeable in this area, is do we, to be classified as a, I know it's a volunteer fire department, do you have to have another truck?
To replace Pumper? Pumper is one of our frontline trucks.
Okay.
Is that what you're asking?
Like I said, I'm not a firefighter,
No.
so please explain.
What are you asking me? If Pumper needs to be replaced, or what do you?
Well, I know that it definitely is, you know, it's 35 years old, and
Yeah.
it does definitely need to look, it looks like it needs to be replaced.
Hmm.
Is this something that has to be replaced to qualify us still as a volunteer fire department?
It's not a thin matter of does it have to be replaced? Just like an NFP standard, what they do, it's a board, and that's like a guideline saying they know after 25 years that your chance of having problems with this truck goes up from there, right? So to be compliant, you're not putting a municipality at risk, like of being, so let's just say for some reason, PT or Pumper does not start for some reason, we have a house fire, and that just puts the municipality at risk. We could be held liable. I don't know if that answers your question. Do you understand? From a liability wise, yes, it does need to be replaced.
Yeah. Okay.
I know, like, the problem with NFP standards is they hold all fire departments to the same standard, which is kind of ridiculous because I know we don't have Toronto's budget. We can't be buying new fire trucks, you know, as often. These trucks are a lot of money. But this is a good moving forward for us. Even like this truck has been really well taken care of. It's made of a marine grade stainless steel body, and it's been undercoated right from factory from day one. It's been really well taken care of. So will this truck last us more than 15 years? I think it'll be here longer than 15 years. Honestly, it's that good a body. Long as you're doing your due diligence and doing your pump testing in every year, and you can prove that you're not in negligence of maintaining that truck, we could keep this truck in service. But our old Pumper it's too far gone for us to keep it going, and it doesn't make sense dollar-wise to keep it. Honestly, for the last 5 years, I've been putting over $5,000 every year. Every time it goes in for safety, they're finding something. It's just aging, you know. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Maxwell, do you have anything to add?
Sure. Thanks, Chief Maxwell, for finding this truck for us. It looks like an awesome truck. It's quite defined, I think, actually. It'll be a nice addition to our fleet. I think it's a really good deal, and I think that we should jump on this opportunity tonight and not delay it any. It's we're looking at a budget of over 300,000 for a new pumper, so this coming in at 85 is really good news for us. I think it'll solve any budget problems we were having trying to. I know they've been asking for a new truck, and it was the price problem. Is the price of the new truck is what I was having problems with, because it's 350,000 probably. But coming in with a truck that's 85,000, that's very reasonable, and that makes it doable for our township. Anytime I can support the fire department, I'm more than happy to do that. So good work.
Thank you.
Councillor Shipp?
So getting this new truck, because it's what did you call it?
It's a 2004 Spartan.
So the Spartan is going to be easier to get parts for the next however many years, because that's the type of truck they're going to continue to build.
Yeah, so it has the Spartan is just a chassis. It does have a Caterpillar drivetrain in it. So Cat engines are really common. So it's only a 2004, so it's still very easy to get parts from. And the truck has a hail pump as well. A hail pump is one of the best pumps you can get in firefighting. So most of our trucks here have hail pumps. We've always had hail pumps, and for one reason, they're really easy to get parts for. So yeah, the future is pretty good for that truck, I would say.
Anything further, Councillor Shipman?
No, that was it for me, thanks.
What will we do with the old one, Dean?
I think we'll have to declare for surplus and try to get what we can for it. I'm honestly, I don't know what we would get for it. Old fire trucks, I know in the past, I've seen a few trucks in my time come through here, and we usually don't get lots for them. But I honestly, I think that's the bridge we got to cross when we get there. But we have done lots of work to it. Like maybe for some backyard guy, it'd be great for service truck or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, I was just curious. I think it's a good idea to move ahead with this as well. We've been talking about this for a couple of years now, and we've been putting it off and not moving ahead with the purchase because of the cost of a new one. And I agree with Councillor Maxwell. This is probably a good opportunity for us to do this. So I'm going to call a vote on this resolution to move forward with this purchase. Councillor Cross, would you vote yes or no?
I vote yes.
Councillor Maxwell, would you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Councillor Shipham?
Yes.
I'll vote yes as well. So do you think you're still going to have the ability to get this in Ontario, or has it already gone back to Manitoba, Dean?
The truck's sitting in Sudbury right now.
Okay.
Bob Locke from Fort Garry had personally held it for me at his house. So
Okay.
He's really worked with us to make this happen. Bob Locke's been with Fort Garry a long time, so that's how come we got it at that price as well.
Okay.
I want to thank council for your support in this matter. This is going to be a really good morale booster for my guys. You know, the last couple of years with all this COVID going on, this will be a nice welcome, you know, some happy news rather for the guys, and it's a badly needed truck, so we'll be excited to show it off.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right. Councillor Cross.
I was just going to kind of put out there, and it might be a silly suggestion, if we don't get peanuts for the old pumper, maybe we could just keep it to use to do our ice rink every year.
It has a small tank on it. That's the problem with that. It doesn't have enough water. But you know what, if the municipality wants to take it and use it, if the roads want to do, like, repurpose it somehow, whatever we can get the most money for it, you know, we're going to strip everything we can take off it, obviously, because I know that's what's going to happen. Somebody's going to buy it for some other purpose, but I don't know, I'll ask around. Like I said, that's something right now I'd like to go over later on, but we'll have to store it now down at the roads for time being, I guess, till we decide what we're going to do with it.
I guess there's a risk of it freezing up too, eh?
Well, we can drain all the pump and fill it up. That's what I'd probably suggest. We fill it up with like some plumber antifreeze or something, maybe. I'll ask around what would be the best thing, but that's probably would be, once you drain it, there's no water in it, the chance of it, there's nothing for it to freeze up, right? So we can drain it and put it away properly. We should be okay.
Yeah, as long as we can get all the water out, it should be all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks very much, guys.
And thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is Municipality of Calvin Administration, acknowledgement of an insurance request for proposal. So we're going to need a mover and a seconder for this as well. We talked about this a couple of meetings ago. We actually had our insurance agent in and talk to us about it. And he was aware that we would probably be going out for a quote. Hello, Cindy.
Sorry, just for clarification, this is for municipal insurance,
Oh,
not for benefits.
Okay.
Sean was here a few months ago for benefits. That'll happen next year. This is
Okay.
for our municipal insurance.
All right. Okay. Ding, ding. So I'll need a mover and a seconder for this one as well. So Councillor Maxwell, can you move this one, please?
Yes, again.
Thank you. Councillor Cross, can you second this one, please?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so we have this resolution moved by Councillor Maxwell, seconded by Councillor Cross, that the Council of the Municipality of Calvin hereby acknowledges that the Clerk Treasurer will be putting out a request for proposal for a municipal insurance provider. Any discussion? Councillor Cross. Did you say anything, Councillor Cross?
No, my computer froze up,
Oh, okay.
so no discussion.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Maxwell.
And no discussion.
Councillor Shippen.
No discussion.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to call for a vote then to vote for this proposal RFQ. So Councillor Cross, do you vote yes or no to proceed with this?
Yes,
Councillor Maxwell, do you vote yes or no to proceed?
Yes.
Councillor Shippen, do you vote yes or no to proceed?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. So this resolution is carried. Thank you, everybody. Next item on the agenda is K. It's a request submitted by Councillor Maxwell. Can you go ahead, Councillor Maxwell?
Sure. Yes, I was asking for Councillor Shippen to explain her comments last meeting regarding that I had some problems with the Women's Association. I'd never in my career as politics spoken about the Women's Association at all. Actually, I don't even know most of who are even on that group. I'm not too familiar with the group, other than a couple of them that sell me vegetables in the summer. I really don't know the group very well, and I don't have any problems with them. So I find it sort of unsettling when this falsehood is put out there of me. I find it an attack on my character, and I just don't understand where it's coming from, and why it continues to be perpetrated. Or I don't know. not perpetrated, but whatever word I meant.
Okay. I don't know if you want to respond or not, Councillor Shipman?
Sure. Councillor Maxwell asked for my comments regarding his statements towards the CWA. A true apology does not have to be overdone, but requires that you do not have a repeat performance and be backed by corrective action. Councillor Maxwell received an email from some concerned citizens regarding comments he made during the 22nd June meeting. This email was sent to Councillor Maxwell and Councillor Maxwell only, but he chose to include the rest of council in his response. Because of Councillor Maxwell's response, I knew he was to provide a response publicly to these citizens in the next meeting regarding his statements. In my belief of what a true apology is, it is my opinion that Councillor Maxwell has failed to meet that mark, and that is why I'm continuing to say this. All my comments are on public record and can be viewed by all, as are Councillor Maxwell's. If Councillor Maxwell has issues with them, he should feel free to submit a complaint so it can be investigated. I stand by my previous remarks and will not use any more of council's time or energy to rehash this issue.
Okay. I guess we'll move on to the next one.
I have something else to say.
Okay, Councillor Maxwell.
To have this investigated would cost us $10,000 again, like for an integrity commission investigated. I think that we have to use other systems to proceed with problems like this when we have a complaint. I'm saying it's a falsehood, and when did I ever even mention the word of the Women's Association in any of my doings with council? I'd like to you to explain that, because if you want, I can really go forward with the complaint, but I really don't want to cause our taxpayers any more expense with E4M. But it's important that you understand that you're saying a falsehood about me, and it's not acceptable.
Your statements are on the record in the meeting, and I am done talking about this issue.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is L, and it's Councillor Maxwell again. Can you talk on this, Councillor Maxwell?
Sure.
Need a mover and a seconder for this, so, okay, first. So, Councillor Maxwell, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. And Councillor Cross, can you second it, please?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So we have this resolution moved by Councillor Maxwell, seconded by Councillor Cross, that the Council of Municipality of Caledon hereby authorizes a copy of the petition made by Mr. Richard Gould, resident of the Municipality of Caledon, to be placed in a municipal office for the convenience of those members of the community who wish to sign it. And further, the petition will be placed just inside the municipal office door to provide minimal contact with staff during a pandemic, and residents with questions regarding the petition will be requested to contact Mr. Gould. Any discussion? I'll let Councillor Maxwell talk first. It's your resolution.
Yes, I have been trying to get this onto the agenda for a couple meetings now, or maybe one meeting, I guess. And it's Mr. Gould has been doing a fabulous job on educating the public on the talking points, or the important points of what we're doing with Castleholm, and I think he's to be commended for that. I'm not sure if perhaps Mayor Pennell, you may know more if he still wants to continue with the. I think he's starting to finish up the petition. It's over 250 now, I believe, and he's. So I think he may have some other direction he wants. I'm not sure how long he wants to carry it on for. I haven't spoken to him in a couple of days. I'm still continuing to collect signatures here at my business. So I just I appreciate his dedication to the cause, and if we can if this helps out, then I think we should go ahead and do it. Provided he still wants to go ahead with it.
I do have a little I can add to that, okay? I've spoken to Mr. Gould in person and through email. And Mr. Gould provided me with a copy of the petition, as well as a letter to the 9 mayors involved in the Castleholme development. So that petition had 232 signatures on it. And today I forwarded that email with his letter in it and with a copy of the petition to all those 9 members of the mayor's group, along with all the CEOs and clerk treasurers involved in those municipalities. And I asked them to review it. I have a little letter that I added, like as a preface to the letter from Mr. Gould and the petition. I can't remember exactly what it said. It was something like the cost was going to be unbearable. Our residents of the municipality are afraid of what's going to happen going forward. We had 232 signatures out of approximately 400 adult residents in the community, which I thought was substantial and pretty impressive. And I asked them to take a look at the petition and the letter from Mr. Gould, because there was a lot of good information in there, so that we could have a discussion about it at our next meeting, which is tomorrow afternoon at 4:30. So I'm thinking that Mr. Gould is, I don't know if he's finished with the petition or not, but there is still a petition in your establishment, and I believe there's still one at Furrier Paws that people can sign if they want to. And that's kind of all the update I have on that. There was the Mr. Fedeli, when he provided his statement last week, kind of took the wind out of Mr. Gould's sails. So I'm hoping now that the mayor's group can fill up his sails and we can get some progress made going forward. Mr. Fedeli said that there was only basically the financing of the province of Ontario, was going to be taken care of now, so we should be free to move ahead. There's a lot of other things that need to be looked at before this project is given the go-ahead, and I can report at that at a future meeting. Okay, so that's all I have to add to that. Councillor Shipman, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I just want to applaud Mr. Gould's efforts in getting the petition out there to everybody, as well as Councillor Cross. They have, and actually Councillor Maxwell as well, since he has one in his place of business. Everybody has rallied together to try and get the maximum participation in this. They've gone door to door. Mr. Gould's gone to the dump and hung out there for a while in an attempt to get more signatures. So I really believe that he's done an awesome job in getting the information out there. Yeah, just thanks so much for all of your help doing that.
There's been many people involved. I've seen names on top of different parts of petition from other members of the municipality as well, who have gone out and knocked on doors and got people to sign the petition as well. So kudos to all those people as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone's had their chance to discuss this. I guess we need to, I'm going to talk on this, okay? I pretty much think the petition is finished. There's 232 signatures on it now. And I think the point that will be made to the mayor's group tomorrow, and that if we take it forward to Mr. Fidelli as well. And I think it's a very important petition to have, okay, and to bring forward to the rest of the mayors and everybody else, right? I'm hoping that the mayor's group will maybe not do a petition, but will definitely, comment similar to what we're commenting of how it's going to influence and affect our municipal residents. Saying that, I also think that I don't know if we want to see it in the municipal office. It's kind of a political thing for one aspect for sure, and it deals with our finances, and then the Castle Home Build is political as well. Also, I know we have some protocols established in the office area, but this would draw in people that we're not sure of their status regarding vaccinations, and so I'm not sure if it's the right thing to do. I think we should be further protecting our staff from that possible contact and that possible infection. That's my thoughts on it. Okay, I see a hand up from Councillor Cross.
I hadn't had a chance to speak, so I just wanted to also congratulate Mr. Gould on all his hard work. I do agree that if it's needed, that the petition should be allowed at the municipal office, but everybody needs to be mindful that this document wasn't written by the municipality, but by Mr. Gould, and that if there's any questions, that they should be directed to him for sure. We do have over 254 signatures, and I was hoping to put forward a notice of motion for the next meeting that we can write a letter to the provincial government that by using the weighted formula to calculate the amount for this rebuild and it being amortized expense is extremely unfair. I know that Mayor Pennelly that you've written before, but I think we should just keep on writing that as the whole council in agreement with that. That's all. Thank you.
Just so you're aware, that was in the letter that was provided by Mr. Gould to the mayors as well. Okay, anybody else have anything? Okay, so I'm going to call this to a vote. Councillor Cross, are you in favor of this petition being put into the municipal office?
Yes.
Councillor Maxwell,
Yes.
are you in favor?
That's right.
Sorry, I didn't hear you, Councillor.
Yes, I'm in favor of it.
Thank you. Councillor Shepherd? Are you
No,
in favor? And for the reasons I stated, I'm going to say no, I'm not either. It's not that I don't support the petition, it's that I want to protect our staff, all right? So we have 2 and 2, 2 yay, 2 nay. So basically this motion is defeated. Okay, so next item on the agenda is either M or M1. Which one is it, Cindy?
M1.
M1? Okay, so that would be the addition to the agenda that we added tonight. And that would be Ms. Albers speaking. Can you go ahead, please?
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'd like to apologize to our mayor, council, Cindy, and the ratepayers for the tone of voice I used at the council meeting on October 12th. It was appropriate to speak in that tone, and I hope you all accept my apologies. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is another request by Councillor Maxwell. And this one has a resolution attached to it that I'll need a mover and a seconder for. Can I get you to move this one, Councillor Shipley?
Yes.
Thank you. Can I get you to second it, Councillor Maxwell?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So we have this resolution moved by Councillor Shipley, second by Councillor Maxwell, that the Council of Municipality of Caldoun hereby requests that Ms. Tammy Albers, Wellness and Relationship Building Consultant, make a formal apology to Councillor Maxwell regarding her comments made at the October 12, 2021 regular council meeting. So I'm going to open this one up for discussion as well. Councillor Cross.
I would actually like to suggest amendment to this resolution. I'd like it to state that Tammy Albers makes an apology to the council as a whole and the taxpayers.
Well, we'd have to vote on that as well. First of all, we'll discuss it. Councillor Maxwell, your thoughts on Councillor Cross's suggestion or request?
I guess I'm okay with the change. She already made the apology, so it's the resolution is kind of after the fact, I guess. It is important that our integrity commissioner be impartial. It's one of their mandates is that they must be impartial at the meetings. And I was taking a lot of heat that night from other councillors, and the added voice of the integrity commissioner on top of that was I found it a little bit too much, and it was over the top. When I speak out and I get in trouble for it, I get charged $4,500. But in an open meeting where she's allowed to say negative things about me and very little recourse is taken, it just seems a bit unfair. It's hard to be a councillor in these days when you're not allowed to speak freely and your freedom of information, freedom of speech, and is curtailed by this organization. And I think I'll just stop there.
See, I agree that it is hard to be a councillor nowadays, okay? But it's equally hard for every councillor to be a councillor nowadays, all right? And we do have to be careful on what words we use and how we use them and how we interact with other councillors and other people. And if we do that incorrectly, then we are open to investigation by the integrity commissioner, and we're also open to our actions not being approved by the rest of the municipality and the rest of the council. So that's all I have to say. Councillor Shipley, do you have any comments on this resolution?
Well, like Ms. Albers was asked to be a guest at our meeting. She didn't interrupt. She asked if she could speak, and both the mayor and Councillor Maxwell did say yes. Councillor Maxwell's behavior is not the responsible behavior of someone in his position, and having someone call him out on it the moment he was perpetuating the bad behavior was probably very jarring for him. Councillor Maxwell breached the code of conduct yet again when he mentioned confidential items from a closed meeting. Lumping the Ontario Health and Safety Act reaches in with the code of conduct, insulting the processes of council and council members is what prompted Ms. Albers to speak out. That Mrs. Albers happened to use the same language and tone as Councillor Maxwell should not be cause for an apology to him, nor being barred from future meetings.
Okay. All right, so everybody's had a chance to speak. I just want to say that I did invite Ms. Albers for that meeting that night, along with Ms. Hannigan, as it was a lot of things on the agenda that night concerning investigations and consequences for as a result of investigations. And I wanted to be sure that everything was done properly in regard to those investigations and the consequences. So I'm going to call this resolution for a vote. So there's two parts to this. It's the apology, which is already, Ms. Albers has already issued a policy to council. The second part was that okay, so that's it then, right?
Mayor Pennell, do we want to amend the
We
motion?
need to, yes.
How would council like it amended?
To council as a whole? Is that appropriate, or does that meet with everyone's request, requirements? It's kind of you, Councillor Maxwell. Are you okay with that, or?
No, I'm not. I was on the receiving end of the complaint, and I would like it to stay the same.
Mayor Pennell?
Yes. There's a part missing here, right? Out of this?
What's missing?
I think there was one part about a resignation. Or, no, not being allowed to attend meetings again or whatever.
Oh, okay. You want to add that?
Oh, that was part
Any
of...
amendments to this motion as it sits has to be voted on by all of council.
Okay. Council Maxwell. Okay. So this one here, we'll vote on this as it is? Is that what you're saying?
No, council can amend it. It's just the amendments, so you have to tell me what you want me to amend, and I'll change it. The amendments
Okay.
need to be voted on, and then the motion as it stands with the amendments in it need to be voted on.
Okay. So personally, I don't want to see any amendment to this motion. But I do want to have the part that asks for Ms. Albers to be not allowed at future meetings. I want that to be addressed as well.
Okay.
I don't know how we're going to word that, but I think it's two separate motions for a resolution. It was put out by Councillor Maxwell as one, though, right? So I think it's all one, right?
Yes. I'm just trying to figure out how to word it.
Apologize to Councillor Maxwell, and that she not be allowed to attend future council meetings. I think that's what Mr. Councillor Maxwell had written his submission. Is that correct, Councillor Maxwell?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So I'd like to see that put in there as well, just so that it's accurate. can you take a look at this, Councillor Maxwell, and see if it meets with your request that you put in?
Yes, it does.
It does? Okay. This resolution has been modified, so we have to accept the changes to it, right? First of all. Okay, so I'm going to ask that we'll take a vote on accepting the amendments to the motion that was originally presented. Councillor Cross, do you vote yes or no to accept those amendments?
Yes.
Councillor Maxwell, do you vote yes or no to accept the amendments?
Yes.
Okay, and Councillor Shipman, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, I vote yes as well. Okay, so the amendments have been made. So now we need to to call a vote on the actual resolution. So I'm going to read it one more time so everybody's aware of it. So it's that the Council of Municipality of Caledon hereby request that Ms. Tammy Albers, Wellness and Relationship Building Consultant, make a formal apology to Councillor Maxwell regarding her comments made at the October 12, 2021 regular council meeting, and that Ms. Albers not be allowed to attend any future Municipality of Caledon Council meetings. Okay, so I'm going to call this for a vote. Do you agree that Ms. Albers she's already made an apology to Council in general, but do you agree that she should make a formal apology to Councillor Maxwell and not be allowed to attend any other future meetings? Councillor Cross.
No, I don't agree with that.
Councillor Maxwell.
Yes, I do.
Councillor Shipham.
No, I don't.
Okay, and I do not as well. So this resolution is defeated as well. Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is item N, and it's another request by Councillor Maxwell, and it's regarding a discussion on how to decrease integrity commissioner costs. Councillor Maxwell, would you like to head this off?
Sure. This was a motion I brought forward back in August, so it's just I didn't mean to load the agenda up with all my motions tonight, but this one comes back from August. It was yeah, I just thought that we should brainstorm in a positive way and see if there's some solutions we can come up to reduce the bill on the integrity commissioner fees. I mean, we're probably going to be up close to 100,000 this year by the time the year is done, and that's unacceptable to our ratepayers. And we have to actually. I just want to take that back. I don't think it's 100,000. It's probably going to be like 70 or 80. I don't know exactly, but it's going to be up there in high numbers. We're already at 44, and we've got 3 more added on, which is usually about 30,000 if past billing is any indication. So we have to address how we deal with our complaints, and I just wanted to have a positive discussion on suggestions on how we could perhaps redirect some of complaints so they go through maybe our own complaint process first before they get to the stage of going into an official investigation. Because once the investigation is started, it can't be stopped, and once it's in process, it seems to go on, and it ends. The results of the investigations are always quite dramatic for our council as well. So it's never a good day when we have to hear the reports from the integrity commissioner. And we heard some solutions, some suggestions on what we could do. I think using our own complaints department first as a first step before we go into asking for an investigation into a code of conduct violation, for example, would be a good step. Maybe we can amend our complaint policy so that that the first option is you go through the complaint process first. I know Councillor Olmsted had mentioned possibly having a fee, but that's not allowed from what my research tells me. I was looking at I think it was the town of Waterloo. They have I was reading their integrity commissioner guidelines, and they have a lot more freedom with their integrity commissioner. They can opt out to have a discussion or have some kind of resolution before it goes through all the stages of a final report. And at any time in their investigation, they seem to be able to stop the investigation and just like call everybody together and try to deal with the problem before it becomes a full-blown investigation. So I'm sure we all have some ideas that we could contribute to maybe reducing our integrity commission bill, because it's unsustainable the way it is right now. And obviously training would be a really important part, especially in the first year of a new council. So I would suggest we do some training. We amend our complaint policy so that we can focus some of those initial complaints through our own in-house procedures first before we go on to use the integrity commissioner. I know in my case, if someone would have called me and talked to me, I would have gladly worked it out, and I could have had a good conversation on direction going forward. And I just think that maybe we have to do something. I'd like to hear if anyone else has any suggestions.
Do you have anything further, Councillor Maxwell?
No, I don't.
Okay, Councillor Cross, do you have anything you'd like to offer?
I agree with Councillor Maxwell that these expenses are unbearable for our community. I do believe that we need to put our heads together and work out better ways on how to communicate and treat each other at the council table with respect. And there's something to be reminded here that the majority of the complaints, I believe, from the integrity commissioner's reports have been made by residents, not staff or council. So it's a little hard to get, I mean, council may be on board with this, but we need to consider the ratepayers who are also making the complaints. I don't want them to feel that they can't complain. I believe maybe even one of or two, some of these last complaints didn't even go in through our office, but went directly to the integrity commissioner. So how we would field those, I'm not exactly sure, if they're not coming directly to the office in the first place. I do believe education is huge. Learning how to speak to each other is huge. Also, maybe if counselors could be more prepared for the meetings, especially if it's on a topic that they feel extremely passionate about, that maybe they prepare a statement and read from that. And that way they stay on track and not get flustered and saying something that they really didn't mean to say, because it happens to us all. I really do believe the main thing is that these complaints are against council, and that councillors are responsible to truly understand what the code of conduct is. And if we have to break it down to make it more simple, I'm up for any suggestions to make this better, because as councillors, we also pay these taxes, and I'm not happy that they're going up. None of us are. And there are some issues with the integrity commissioner, not commissioner, but the way things are done. There's a few things that I could easily say that make me feel extremely uncomfortable about these procedures. And I feel that with this being something that has been implemented in our term, we seem to be maybe not the guinea pigs, but we maybe are the ones that have to work out the kinks and what's going on here. But on the other hand, there are plenty of other communities or municipalities that haven't had one complaint. So there definitely is a lot of things to look at here. And working together as a council is the most important. We have a responsibility to our ratepayers. That's all.
Thank you. Councillor Shipman, do you have anything you'd like to offer?
Well, I agree with Councillor Cross that we do have a responsibility to our ratepayers, and that we need to be a little bit more calm, focused, and prepared for meetings so that we know exactly what we're going to say, or well, maybe not exactly, but know what we're going to say before we get to the topic, so that we're not going off topic and going on a rant. The complaint process needs to, pretty much, I'm thinking it needs to stay the way it is, because as a victim of whatever happened, you need to feel that you have the ability to talk to somebody that is going to listen to you and not be part of the machine that has wronged you, whatever that might be. Having maybe a resolution counselor, if it's something that could be resolved, might be a way to go. But yeah, we need to figure out a way to keep these costs down.
Anything further, Councillor Shipman?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. You've all made some really good points, in my opinion. We're new to Integrity Commissioner in our term of council. Before, I believe it was Ombudsman, and but anyway, our Integrity Commissioner has told us before that the smaller investigations are the ones that they don't see that are valid. They don't investigate it, and they don't charge us for those. The ones that are investigated are deemed to be serious, and usually it's a code of conduct or pecuniary during our term. There was one other one, a health and safety one, but we can't talk about that right now. I think we need to all respect one another, okay? I'm not saying that we don't do that now. I'm just saying that we have to think about what we're saying before we say it. And because once you say it, you can't take it back. And you can't break a rule a little bit. When you break a rule, you break a rule, okay? You can't just do it a little bit. When I would think the majority of all the complaints were submitted by outsiders, not staff and not councillors. And I feel the way to reduce our costs going forward is to watch what we're doing, each one of us, okay? And try every meeting to make sure that we don't cross those lines and we don't say something that we shouldn't be saying, and that we are respectful of each other all the time, and we do follow the code of conduct. And I think the only reason only way we can reduce the cost is to follow the rules. Okay, so that's my thought on that. If we keep continuing the way we are, the costs are going to continue to escalate. And there was one thing Councillor Maxwell suggested, and I think Councillor Shipman, excuse me, elaborated on, that we could possibly investigate in-house. Right now, if a complaint is put in about a staff member, that is investigated in-house. But if we start doing that for councillors, I believe that people who are concerned with what we're doing and how we do things, people aren't going to feel that they can submit a complaint because they're going to feel that that we're really not going to look after it because it pertains to ourselves. So I really don't agree with in-house investigations of councillor allegations. So that's all I'm going to say on that one. Okay. So everyone has a kind of an idea of what we need to do. Next item on the agenda is O. It's bylaw number 2021-032, and it's a road use agreement with Kevin and Cindy Grant. So I'm going to need a mover and a seconder for the first reading. Councillor Cross, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
Councillor Maxwell, can you second it, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. So we have the first reading of a bylaw to authorize a road use agreement between Kevin and Cindy Grant and the Corporation and Municipality of Calvin, and to be read the first time. So we have this moved by Councillor Cross and seconded by Councillor Maxwell. Is there any discussion on this? Councillor Cross?
I believe that the road agreement that the grants have put in is not the one that council has, not council, but the municipality uses. So I don't feel that I can support that road agreement if it's not actually made by the municipality.
Cindy, is this agreement by Mr. and Mrs. Grant or our template?
Council was provided with the municipal version using the template that was agreed to by council in 2020.
Yeah.
They were also provided the agreement that was written by Mr. and Mrs. Grant for reference as well.
Which is this one?
We would be using the municipal agreement.
So that's the one we're referring to here,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Correct.
Councillor Cross, do you have anything you'd like to?
Okay. Yeah, no, my misunderstanding. No, I didn't realize that they had signed the municipal one, so I'm good.
They haven't signed anything.
Signed it yet.
The grants have not signed anything, just for clarification. They've submitted what they would like to see, and I've provided council with a copy of what the municipality uses as per the template, but I also included what they requested as for reference for council.
Excuse my ignorance here, but we're having a first reading. We're having a first reading on which road agreement?
No, we're having, the municipality has written a road agreement. Council is doing the first reading on the road agreement that has been written by the municipality. The grants
Okay.
also wrote a road agreement because they have some requests to make. If council chooses
Okay.
to incorporate those requests into the municipal template, that's their prerogative. That's why we do this
Okay.
in meetings.
Okay. Sorry for my misunderstanding. All right, thank you.
Okay. Councilor Maxwell, do you have anything you'd like to offer here?
Only that when we did pass this bylaw, we did say that it was a template and it would be individually itemized as per the applicant. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't really explain. I can't really understand which one's good, and which one's not. I mean, it's a lot of legal jargon, and I see they've left out some things. I guess it's mostly they've taken out things out of our agreement. I don't know what to think about it. I'm really happy that they've come to the table and I want to have a road agreement. That's really great of them. So I know our lawyers, and one of the first reports we had from the lawyers was that he didn't think it was that possible for us to insist on a road agreement with them. One of the first communications we had way back a couple of years now. I have nothing else to say.
Councilor Shippen, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Well, I don't believe we should be going with any version that a citizen makes. The road agreement is made by the township and it protects the township. So if we're going to do any readings, I would prefer to stick with the one the municipality drew up, with no additions and no changes.
Okay. All right, so thank you all for that. We did draw up this road agreement. I'm not sure when it was, but there was Councillor Olmsted, Councillor Grant, Councillor Maxwell, and myself. And there was a lot of discussion back and forth on it. And we did pass this as a bylaw, okay? I'm not sure the year. It might have been 2020 maybe? I'm not sure. But anyway, so this is our agreement. And we can, and we should, go through the steps to have it brought into effect. And then we can have discussions regarding any possible changes, but those changes have to be acceptable. There are some things in the road agreement, such as indemnity and insurance and things like that that we all agreed to do before. So I think that we should continue to do that. So I'm going to call the first reading for a vote. So Councillor Cross, do you vote to authorize this road agreement with Kevin and Cindy Grant and the Corporation Municipality of Calvin?
Yes.
Councillor Maxwell,
Yes.
do you agree to authorize this road use agreement between Kevin and Cindy Grant and the Corporation Municipality of Calvin?
Yes.
Okay. Councillor Shippen, do you agree to authorize a road use agreement between Kevin and Cindy Grant and the Corporation Municipality of Calvin?
Yes, as long as it's the municipality version.
Right. That's the one we're looking at now. Okay.
Okay.
And I vote yes as well. Okay, so the first reading is passed, or carried. We'll go on to the second reading. And I'm going to need a mover and a seconder for that as well. So, Councillor Shippen, can you move the second reading, please?
Yes.
And Councillor Cross, can you second the second reading, please?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we have the second reading of this bylaw to authorize the road agreement between Kevin and Cindy Grant and the corporation of Mr. Calvin to be read a second time and referred to a committee of the whole council. And it's moved by Councillor Shipman, second by Councillor Cross. Any discussion on the second reading? Councillor Cross.
No discussion.
Councillor Maxwell.
A question did come to me, actually. We do have a road agreement already on this road with Boylo, or it's in the process of being done. What happens when you have two road agreements on the same road? They're overlapping here. Who's responsible for it? Kind of, that creates a bit of a question, I guess.
I think each one is responsible for their own area, but in this case, one might overlap another one. So there is some liability aspects there, and that would be covered by, I think, insurance. Can you offer anything on that, Cindy?
I just wanted to mention to council that I have sent the grant version of the agreement that they sent in, as well as our own, to the solicitor for comment. And one of my questions was
Okay.
and they both have the same area that they're covering. Unfortunately, I sent the request last Thursday, and I haven't received a response back from the solicitor at this time.
Okay, thank you for that. So it looks like we don't have an answer for your question, Councillor Maxwell.
So in that
Anything
case,
further?
I would just say in that case, I think we should defer this motion until we get the answers from the solicitor.
We can do that, if everybody's in agreement to do so. So Councillor Cross, are you in agreement to defer this to, until we get a response back from our solicitor?
Yes.
Councillor Shipham?
Yes.
Okay, I am as well. So can we do that, Cindy, please?
Yes, we just won't do second and third reading tonight.
Okay, thank you. Right. All right. So the next item on the agenda is number 7, information letters. Anything in there? Councillor Cross.
No, nothing for me. Thanks.
Councillor Maxwell.
No, nothing for me.
Okay. Councillor Shipham.
I was wondering about supporting the Legion. As an ex-military member, that's important to me, and I'm not sure how it works for the township to support, but I was wondering if, I'm sure that there have been military members from the township that have served in whatever conflicts, and we can support that along with the Legion.
I think in the past we have, I don't know about every year, but we have supported that. I was looking through the trial balance this last weekend, and in there was a line item of $40 for donations. So if it meets with your approval and everyone else's approval, maybe at our next meeting we can come back with a resolution to do that if everybody's of that opinion. So I would ask Councillor Cross, are you willing to do that?
Yes, I am.
Councillor Maxwell?
Yeah, it's a good idea. I just think that we have to, I just remember last year, one of the years, there was no one there to present the wreath. So we have to put a name with it too. I think that someone's that's going to be at the ceremony and lay the wreath as well. I seem to remember hearing that it was the last minute shuffle trying to find someone who's going to put Kelvin's wreath up.
I agree.
Okay. So are you looking for one of the counselors or whatever to attend the ceremony?
I am sure that the Sergeant at Arms would be willing to put the wreath out, as he will be there anyway.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the ceremonies are going to be like this year,
Me neither.
because of this COVID thing, right? So, but that was a good idea, Councillor Maxwell. Okay, so I think we've agreed to come back with a resolution at our next meeting in regard to this. Anthony and Eric, anything else, Councillor Shipman?
And I was wondering about supporting the cannabis production and processing facilities. Well, I realize this is not something that is happening around here right at this moment. It could be a future issue. So we might want to get on board with having some type of rules and regulations set up as to how they are regulated and for future.
Okay.
And that
so
was
we
it.
just want to support that that letter.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you indicate which letter that is to me, please?
Oh, sorry.
It's
It's K.
Okay.
Town of Enniskillen. Township of Enniskillen. K.
yeah.
Thank you. Is all of council in agreement with that?
Yes. I am. Councillor Croft?
Yes, I am.
Councillor Maxwell?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Councillor Shipman?
No, that was it for me. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, so on here, there was one item, and it's item M. And, excuse me, it's from Association of Municipalities Ontario, and it's the Canada Community Building Fund, the annual report. So it was a funding project for groups and buildings in neighborhoods, okay, municipalities. So I thought of Castleholm when I read that. On page 6, there's something refers to buildings. So I've asked Cindy if she could look into that, and she's agreed to do that for us. And that's all I had there. Okay, so we'll move on. So the last thing we have here, I guess, is no council approval process rising, no submotion, so adjournment. Am I correct? Am I missing anything? Cindy? No? Okay.
No.
Okay, so we should have a resolution for that. So I need a mover and a seconder for this one, please. And Councillor Maxwell, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
And Councillor Shipman, can you second that one, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you very much. So we have this resolution moved by Councillor Maxwell, seconded by Councillor Shipman, that this regular council meeting of council now be adjourned at 9:10 p.m. Any discussion? Councillor Croft?
No discussion.
Councillor Maxwell?
No discussion.
Councillor Shipman?
No discussion.
Okay, so I'm going to call a vote to adjourn the meeting at 9:10. Councillor Croft, do you vote to adjourn the meeting at this time?
Yes.
Councillor Maxwell
Yes, I do.
and Councillor Shiplin?
Yes.
I do as well. So tonight's meeting is over. Everyone stay safe, take care of yourselves. See you at the next meeting, perhaps. Okay? Bye now.
Good night.
Good night.